Welcome back to today's session on the topic Introduction to Object Oriented Analysis and Design. In the last session, we had concentrated what could be the objectives of OOAD and what a student can finally get after the successful completion of Unit 1. And now, in today's session, we will go in brief what is that we are going to learn. In this session, we will talk about the introduction to object oriented analysis and design. What is the model and what is the main focus or the main importance of modeling? How could you understand the principles of modeling? What is object oriented analysis and what is object oriented modeling? We will see the conceptual models of the unified modeling language, which we abbreviate it as UML. We will detailedly analysis the architecture of object-oriented analysis and design via UML. We will also focus on the software development lifecycle, that is SDLC, which is very prominent in a subject software engineering. Besides covering introduction to OOAD with all these components, in the future sessions, we will be working on introduction to iterative development and the unified process. We will discuss all the activities on a case study, the next gen POS system. And finally, we will conclude with all the architectural layers and some case study emphasis. Without wasting much time, now we will move for the next concept in Unit 1. Before we move into the technical content and the design issues of object-oriented analysis and design, let us have the small briefing and the summary on the history of object-oriented analysis and design. OOAD is a technical approach for analyzing and designing an application or a system or business by applying some object oriented programming as well as using some visual modeling tools throughout the software development process to guide stakeholder communication and product quality. Normally, when we talk about the difference between a sophisticated user and an unsophisticated user, the design approach could be very easily understood by an unsophisticated user, but the same design oriented code is being converted, and if it is being understood easily by a programmer, at the same time, this code would be useful for a sophisticated user. So the beauty of this object-oriented analysis and design, it is a mixture of both the analysis part, design part, and the tools which are used in this object-oriented analysis and design will lead for automatic simulation of the code. Object-oriented analysis and design in modern software engineering is typically conducted in an iterative and an incremental way. I can give you the detailed example on this. The way I pronounced it as an iterative and incremental way because the object oriented analysis and design activities, these are the analysis models for object oriented analysis as well as design. Normally, the sharing of the content or the analysis of the content is done on both the analysis models as well as the design models. The intention is for these to be continuously refined and evolved, driven by key factors like risk and business values. When an analysis of a model is being going on, the design protocols will be automatically changing based on the key factors of that particular model. So, when a software engineer, when he's working on the design of these models, he had to keep all the key factors into consideration and accordingly he had to process. In the early days of object oriented technology, at most at the mid 1990s, there were many different competing methodologies for software development and object orienting modeling. But for a specific computer aided software engineering, we call it as case tools. Nowadays, we all are producing with a catchy name called as UML. But in the olden days, we used to call it as case tools. The name is also case tools laboratory. There were no standard notations, consistent terms, or we don't have such kind of process guides that degrades the communication efficiency and lengthen the learning curves. So now in this computerized world and now in this AI trend, everything is in our hands. Just a drag and drop, a simple clicking on the button. But in the previous days, there are no such kind of standards. There are no such kind of consistent terminology which came into picture. But now, the process from case tools lab to UML lab has been continuously being changed from decades. The design process is changing its shape from one tool to another, and the rapid incrementation which is being going on in the development of tools made the design process too simple. Some of the well-known object-oriented methodologies were from and inspired by gurus such as Grady Booch, James Romberg, Ever Jacobson. We call them as the three amigos. And Robert Martin, Peter Cord, Sally Scheller, Stephen Miller, and Rebecca Werbsbrook. All these personalities are much known for their object oriented methodologies and its philosophies. When you look deep into the projects, the textbooks are written with case studies rather than having a general philosophy. Every textbook is a concept of a case study where the case studies are represented so beautifully, where it starts at object diagram and finally it completes at deployment diagram. All the components of object oriented analysis and design are completely used and they are kept in a position in such a way that the process one of developing and the process n of being successful completion all are elevated step by step in their methodologies, in their written books, and in their articles. In 1994, the three amigos of Rational Rose Software started working together to develop a unified modeling language. You can understand the terminology unified modeling language because this will be playing a key role in our next sessions. Later, together with Philip Crutchen and Walker Royce, they have led a successful mission to merge their own technologies like OMT OOSC, and Booch method, where various insights and experience from other industries leaders into rational unified processing. Okay, so we called as unified processing and rational unified processing. It's the mixture. You can call it as simply a mixture of object oriented analysis along with object oriented software engineering. The software engineering also talks about the model development with precise and limited rules, where you had to extend the content and where you had to delete the content is being completely shown in the process of rational unified process. This is a comprehensive and iterative. At the same time, it is an incremental process guide and framework for learning industries best practices in software development and project management. When I talk about this narrational unified process, or when I'm talking about this unified modeling language, these two together are very much important for the development of the projects from one level to another level. Since then, the unified process family has become probably the most popular methodology and referenced model for object oriented analysis and design. My friends, it is to be deep understood that object oriented analysis and design, it is now a handy version for each and every individual, but it is not the same when we are under case tool vendors. The process guides are not that familiar to everyone. The implementation strategies are not that easier as we are working nowadays. Everything is having a separate look and feel. Keeping all this history aside, let us move into introduction of object oriented analysis and design. When I talk about the object oriented basics, the software development methodology is the series of process that leads the development of an application, like you can plan, at the same time you can gather the requirements, the system analysis, the modeling, the design, the implementation, testing, and finally maintenance and deployment. Before you start your software development methodologies with these 7 steps, these 7 steps are very, very important for any model to be deployed, my dear friends. Look at the point number 4, design issues, or the modeling issues, or the system analysis. Once the person is with a clarified content, and if the content, what is that he is going to develop or what is that he is going to build, is in his hands, and if the problem statement is defined in a very thorough manner, then automatically the modeling and the design parts becomes easier. If at all, if the modeling and design becomes easier, the implementation would be damn perfect. With this, we will continue about the introduction to OOAD in the next session. Thank you.